I'm Richard Young, and this is my OMG interview. Oh boy, it's a busy season coming for fashion, at least fashion for me, Richard Young. There's this project in Tobago called Lever, French word for uplifting and elevating, and that's what I'm about, elevating our creative industries. And it's going to be held at this spectacular nook in Arnesvale, which was designed by Roger Thurton. They contacted me to work with Andrew Ramroop of Savile Row, our own Tunapuna-born master artist tailor, and he brought on board two other designers, Ecliffe Eli and Marlon George, who we know as Dow, which is distinctive attitude when wearing. We are putting together a fabulous show in Villa Being, just to kick off jazz. That's one of the events. We had this fabulous photo shoot done as well by Stephen Duval, and we are featuring in the upcoming issue of She Caribbean magazine. So you're going to see our young men splendidly put together by Marlon and Ecliffe. I'm also doing Montreal Caribbean Fashion Week, which is a big deal for me because this year they have commissioned me to speak on what my passion is, to speak on the Caribbean aesthetic. And that's my passion, because I really do believe that we have a style, we have a methodology, we have a way of doing things that is appealing to the world, that comes from us naturally. As one of my statements, we are fashionable by nature. It's a natural thing for us to be exhibitionistic and to show our style. So I am going there to speak on that, but I'm also going to produce and direct the show coming up in the month of April. And that is another exciting moment for me, because I'm going to interface with Caribbeans who live in Montreal with a French influence. I'm also going to meet Toronto-based Caribbean designers, as well as about 25 designers from the region are going up to take part in that show. I head off to Antigua to do Miss Antigua and Barbuda, and I have been fortunate to be given the task to rebrand the pageant. Over the last 3 years I've been working on it, and it moved from a 500-seater to a 5,000-seater, and there is a whole invigoration of the platform that the pageant is, and it has been stripped of those old stereotypical vibes of the diminishing of women. It is a most empowering experience, and the public sees it, and I think that's why they gravitate to it. This year there was a record number of people wanting to take part, and that is proving itself to be an exciting project coming up. And last year I was appointed on the World Indigenous Fashion Council. Special because I believe in the promotion of indigenous ways. The promotion of indigenous ways supports the non-traditional way of doing our creative industry. So I am very fascinated by that. I represent the Caribbean and some of the northern regions of South America. That show comes off in Seychelles later on this year. The creative director for it, it's going to be World Indigenous Fashion Week held in Seychelles, and that is very exciting for me to construct. Because it is on a belief of the Creole cultures of the world and the indigenous cultures of the world, and how their practices must not be forgotten, and how they inform our style making in a very, very relevant, creative way. And it's that reinvigorating that I am looking forward to directing and shaping. Yeah, there is also in the making an international pageant that I've been asked to craft. So that is in motion. When it has become more solid, I will definitely share that with the rest of us. But that also has me very excited, because it's a rebranding again of how pageants are done. And what I would say is celebrating the new world cultures, the new age peoples. And they must be telling their stories, all about the anecdotes of our wonderful eclectic world, the multicultural world that now exists. That is what I want to bring to bear in a luminous way in that pageant, and that is going to be like my pinnacle project if I get it done the way I want it done. What is fascinating to me is that the modern approaches of the world, what is intrinsically modern, is a reliance now on the indigenous. We have gone back to our roots, as it were. We are looking for holistic methods. We are looking for sustainable initiatives to move us forward. And most of these things come from going back to the source. So doing a pageant that is going to involve this eclectic breed that has been born in the last century, this plural beauty. I am very excited about it, and I think that has given it a modern edge, a very fashion-forward edge. And that's why I'm excited about how I craft it. And it must always be celebrating the other arts, because beauty arts and fashion arts are inextricably linked, and they should inform each other so that the designers who work in the fabric and textile design and the ones who are building accessories from natural things, they're the ones who are going to costume this pageant that I'm working on. And the same thing is going to be also the underpinning of the World Indigenous Fashion Week, bringing those things to the front. So those are some of the things I'm doing. Yeah, it's a busy season. 2017 is going to be a little busy. There is also something I work with Nicole Dyer Griffith, which is called O2N, Oxygen with Nicole. And we have crafted an exhaling process, as it were, a safe space, not to be too clinically using the word, but a space where women, firstly, because we're extending it, can come and tell their stories and chat, and we bond. And I have used a very colloquial, very Caribbean, very Trinidadian way of rolling the story out, because the storytelling approach and the sense of anecdote is something that we have a tendency to leave out. I'm using that to encourage them to dialogue and to cross-reference their stories. So it's like an odyssey, as it were, of revealing truths that people can align themselves with to better themselves. So we have one of them coming up in May, and we are also going to, because it's a Caribbean brand, the O2N brand, we have already done Guyana, and we have St. Lucia and Antigua planned this year. So that is another one of the projects that I'm shaping. O2N is a project designed primarily for women. At least we started with that because it's about empowering the human race. But we started with women coming, select women came on a platform, told their stories in a safe space with attending listening ears, so that people can align with those stories to see how those people eke their ways out of some of the distresses. And that has proven itself to be so successful a formula, because I encourage the dialogue in a very colloquial and easy way and conversational way. So it isn't very inviting. So we have done it here, we have done 2 or 3 here, we have done one in Guyana, we have another one coming up in May, and we have 2 carded, one in Antigua and St. Lucia, because it's a Caribbean brand. As I always feel about all of this stuff I have mentioned here, we need to always think in terms of that trademark that is the Caribbean, because we can't promote the insularity of island per island. It has to be this brand which is showing the world there is a new methodology. Something happened here. This is what the creolizing, the new world, the new world and the new age thinking comes from this space, this melting pot of different cultures who have found ways to make themselves viable. And that is what I find interesting. That is how far I carry the style of the Caribbean. It's not just in the clothing and the costuming, it's in the way we practice whatever we do. That's the style. And that is what is so unique. And that is what is so fascinating to onlookers and cultural buffs and anthropological enthusiasts when they look in at how these people in this part of the world confront their realities living in the island space. That is really what motivates me, and I make people use their examples to help others, whether it is in the modeling, whether it is in the pageant world, whether it is in just the support system of a talk shop like we're doing with O2N. That is it. Rely on your realities, rely on your stories to help you through it. Tell people the ways that you overcame some of the adversity and tragedy. Sometimes you're not even sure that you did it until you say it. So in the explicit pronunciation and proclamation of what you have done, you're going to help others. So that's the reveal. So I have recognized that has to be my mission. That's my métier, as it were, to make people appreciate themselves, applaud themselves, and we can give accolade to the ways that we do things here that is intrinsically Caribbean. Over the last 2 years or so, I've come to identify or accept or understand, with the urgings of some close friends and some people who are supporters or endorsers, that I have a talent. Some people might think this is a strange thing to hear from me, because ever since I was doing whatever, you would see multi-talented Richard Young, the talented Richard Young. I didn't have that belief and conviction. I was doing what I liked doing, which was what was natural to me. And it was all experimental, and it was all experiential. So it was about doing it and vibing through it and coming up. So after 20 or 30 years, and here I'm carbon dating myself, I have found formulas. There are formulas in the approach that can keep it fresh, because it's very important to not go into mundanity. And I was just discussing that just a little before now. You have to find freshness. So in this freshness, you have to approach each event, each project, each production with an element of adding to the existing menu, as it were, and not just joining the bandwagon of, let's do something. We're doing a show, we're doing a pageant. You have to inform people. I understand the responsibility of literary work. And because of that, that has transposed itself in what I do. So for a simple show, I write a script. There must be an agenda. People must leave having benefited not just from the entertaining aspects of the show, but you have to probe and provoke them culturally. They must enjoy the experience by wonderful sound of music. The visual feast must be there. The experience of the patrons, the connecting with the talent. So there are certain levels that are in my work that are deliberate, that have to be seamlessly done so they don't look forced. So that has become the way I want it done, the way the light would come up and what image comes up in the background and what type of music would be used. And constantly I am paying homage to the deity that is the Caribbean aesthetic. So there are so many multi-layers of music in the region. So I have to use that. There are so many references and stories and fabulous artists and fantastic designers. So they have to be always plugged in to come up with this composition that is always Caribbean. So it could be a pageant, it could be a fashion show, it could be a set that I'm doing, so I all feel that I have to pay tribute to this Caribbeanness, and that has to be always in my work. So then there is a formula for the rollout of that. And I understand the importance of that to event tourism, which makes it sound so big, because that is one of the ways that we could dynamize our destination marketing, by taking events, angling it to promote tourism, providing options and alternatives and different experiences, because that's what people are coming for. And we have to understand that in our natural makeup, we are a different experience. Just in the way we sit, we talk, we look, we gaff, as they say in Guyana. We make fun, make sport. We interface with one another in such an interesting way that it is exhilarating to people who are coming. So we need to channel it, we need to market it, we need to monetize it. So all of that is what I do and what I do throughout the region. I always try to integrate it, so there's an intra-regionality too. You have to link them. So I take models from one show and carry them to another. I carry designers up to another space. I interface the people. I make them network each other and provide opportunity for furtherance and connections and linkages. It's very, very important to have that integral Caribbean identity inside of what I'm doing. So that's where the formula is. So everyone is a little different, but it pays the respect to this Caribbean sense of self. And that's the identity branding that empowers what I do. Well, to say that there is a little xenophobia in the country, in the region, would be still me trying to soften it. It exists. So I was given the task of writing, and some people wouldn't even know that my interest goes there, a folk ballet. So I wrote this folk ballet to commemorate National Heroes Day in Antigua. And we brought dancers from the region up, from Guyana, from St. Lucia, from Trinidad, and I brought them together to work with the dance heads of Antigua, which they said was like impossible to have done. Wrote a script and pulled actors together. And I got that done in a short time on the day, under the pressure of everybody thinking it was not going to happen. And some of the costumes didn't come. And then I am not one to go on stage. And I was literally pulled onto stage. And there was like this standing ovation. And I mean, the chairman under who I work, he said, "And you think Antiguans don't love you?" And it brought me almost to tears because we did a great show under the circumstances. So I will say that is my OMG moment that makes me feel like it's worth it. And you have to go again and do it in spite of whatever the pressure is. Yeah, I thank everyone. I'm thanking everyone for viewing my OMG interview, and you can check me out. I'm not so techno savvy, so you can check me out on my Facebook page. I have a public page and I have a private page, or you can look at my Instagram, which is Richard Young TT. Bye for now until I come back, because I'm leaving soon. Love you, TNT.